My name is Sarah Jenkins. I'm 29, and I work as a special education teacher, or at least that's what my family believes. When I invited them to my awards ceremony, my father texted, "Just a lowly teacher," and my sister replied that they'd rather celebrate her 10,000 Instagram followers at LeBlanc, the fanciest restaurant in Seattle. My mother liked the message. I typed back, "Enjoy your dinner," and for the first time in my life, blocked all three of them. That night, while they ate their $600 champagne, my father looked down at his phone and froze. For years, I kept two versions of myself separate. There was Sarah the daughter, thrift store sweaters, a rattling Honda Civic, and there was the Sarah who'd spent 3 years secretly building Bright Path, an education app now used in 3,000 school districts nationwide. I'd been nominated for Innovator of the Year at the National Education Gala, and I made the mistake of inviting my family. My father called it a participation trophy. My sister Tiffany sent a selfie from LeBlanc holding champagne with the caption, "Sorry, we don't have time for a school assembly." My mother liked it instantly. 3 days earlier, I'd driven out to my parents' house because their water line had burst and they needed $3,500 immediately. I brought cash. My father counted it, suspicious, then turned around and toasted a bottle of wine with Tiffany, who just announced a brand partnership. He told me I should be more like her, that I was just settling, too small-minded for real success. What none of them knew, I'd been secretly paying their $2,800 monthly mortgage for 5 years, calling it rent to protect his ego. I walked out quietly that day and made a decision. No more saving them. Back in my apartment, I put on a custom $4,000 midnight blue gown, diamond earrings I'd bought myself, and stepped into a waiting limousine. My driver called me Madame President. Across town, my family was celebrating like they'd already won, live streaming their mockery of me to Tiffany's followers. Completely unaware the National Education Gala broadcast, the one I was about to walk into, was playing live on the television mounted above LeBlanc's bar. At the Ritz-Carlton, I walked a red carpet lined with people who actually knew my work: tech CEOs, university deans, venture capitalists, treating me with the respect my family never had. My fiancé James, a neurosurgeon they'd never met because I refused to let them near anything good in my life, was waiting for me with sparkling water instead of champagne because he knew I got nervous. Back at LeBlanc, my family had ordered two $600 bottles of champagne and a seafood tower, mocking me the entire time. Probably a certificate for perfect attendance, my father joked. When the bill came, his card was declined. He didn't know it yet, but the money he'd been quietly living off, my money, had just stopped moving through his accounts. Then the restaurant's TV cut to the gala. The camera found me sitting in my gown, and the announcer read my name, Sarah Jenkins, founder and CEO of Bright Path, nominee for Innovator of the Year, along with a $5 million investment prize. My father's wine glass slipped from his hand and shattered, drenching Tiffany's white dress in red. My mother screamed that I must have stolen the money. On stage, I gave a speech thanking my family for not showing up, saying their absence was the greatest gift they could have given me, and that real value isn't about perception, it's about impact. The restaurant turned against them in real time. Other diners who'd overheard Tiffany's mockery all evening now watched them squirm. The general manager confiscated my father's declined card, called the whole table's behavior shameful, and told them to pay up or he'd call police. They emptied their pockets, barely $400 between them, and had to leave my mother's diamond earrings and my father's watch as collateral. A waiter held the door open and said one word on their way out: karma. That night my phone exploded. 50 missed calls, over 100 texts. My mother wrote that she was so proud, making my favorite pot roast, I'd been vegetarian for 7 years. She didn't know. Tiffany claimed her earlier messages mocking me were from a hacker, then asked me to wire her $20,000 to cover the bill. I screenshotted everything and sent it straight to my lawyer. Then I turned my phone off. The next morning, they tracked down my old apartment, only to learn from my landlord that I hadn't lived there in 6 months. I'd kept paying rent on it just to keep them at arm's length. Tiffany found a picture on a friend's Instagram revealing where I actually lived. The Skyline Tower, the city's most exclusive high-rise. My father, driving his rattling Ford Explorer, decided the $5 million was rightfully his, a return on his investment in raising me, and drove straight there to collect. They stormed into the tower demanding to see me, my father raging that the money was family property and threatening to sue under filial responsibility laws. My mother lunged to slap me and was intercepted by security. I told them plainly, I'd paid their mortgage for 5 years, and if they sued me, I'd release every bank statement, every email, every text where they'd called me a failure and then begged for money minutes later. I had security escort them out and ban them from the property. I thought that was the end of it. It wasn't. 2 days later, Tiffany posted a tearful video claiming our father had a heart condition, we'd lost the house, and I'd had security throw my dying parents out when they came begging for medicine money. It went viral. My biggest investor called, panicked about the company's image. School districts started pulling contracts. None of it was true, but the internet doesn't check receipts. It just picks a villain. James refused to let me collapse under it. Instead of a defensive statement, we built a case. Bank records, emails, years of documented support. Then my father actually filed a lawsuit, invoking an obscure filial responsibility law, demanding $5,000 a month and 30% of my company's assets, hiring a shark lawyer named Sterling on contingency. He also filed an emergency motion to freeze my accounts. I hired a forensic accountant and a private investigator to dig into my father's finances properly. What they found stopped me cold. 5 years earlier, when I was 24 and couldn't even get approved for a car loan, my father had opened 3 credit cards in my name, my social security number, my identity, and run up $45,000 buying golf clubs, spa trips, and jewelry, then defaulted and let the debt destroy my credit without ever telling me. The forged signature on the applications matched his handwriting with 99% certainty. It wasn't just betrayal, it was a federal crime. At the meeting with Sterling, my father arrogantly demanded I hand over $500,000 and buy Tiffany a condo to make the lawsuit disappear. I slid the credit card evidence across the table instead. I gave him 2 options. I go straight to the district attorney, and he faces 5 to 10 years in prison for identity theft and fraud. Or he and my mother and Tiffany sign a full termination of parental rights, a permanent no-contact order, and a public retraction, in exchange for me quietly paying off the stolen $45,000 so it stops wrecking my credit. His lawyer told him to take the deal. With shaking hands, my father signed his name, his real signature this time, not the forged one, ending it for good. Without my secret payments, their house went into foreclosure within 90 days. My parents moved into a cramped 1-bedroom apartment. Tiffany's online persona collapsed once people found the court records. She ended up working a register at Walmart, the same kind of ordinary job she used to sneer at. James and I got married quietly on a beach in Kauai, surrounded by the people who'd actually shown up for me, my old landlord, my lawyer, my former students. I bought my childhood home in a blind cash sale after the foreclosure, gutted it, and turned it into a free learning center for low-income kids who need the kind of support I never got. I drive past it now and feel nothing but peace. DNA isn't a lifetime contract. Family is the people who show up. not the ones who show up only once they smell money. If anyone has ever made you feel like a burden or a bank account instead of a person, hear this. You don't owe your future to people who never invested in it. Class is dismissed.